This is Red, White, and Bluegrass.
Auditor Allison Ball says tax dollars are being spent, quote, extravagantly in the executive branch. In a presentation to lawmakers on the House A&R committee this week, Ball and General Counsel Alex McGarrah shared a review of expenses Chairman Jason Petrie calls points of interest. Among them, in fiscal year 2025, $39 million in alleged advertising expenses or $7 million spent on out-of-state travel. Governor Andy Beshear called the auditor's presentation a political attack, saying the executive branch was never asked any questions and that some reported expenses were misleading or mandatory payments.
You're taking that taxpayer's money out of the pocket and putting it on that expense. If you had those people in a room with you, would you go, yes, this is really good, or maybe not, or no, we shouldn't have done that? I'm not going to pass any judgment or attempt to on any of these, but that's the real question at hand.
Are there expenses here and there that we can do better on? Sure, but if you're attacking us for dollars that went to foster kids because judges said that it had to, those are questions you should probably ask.
Auditor Ball says this was not an audit, but a review of spending data in the state's EMARS system. Representative Brown, let's start with you here. Given the amount of spending, that is being reported here, how much of it can truly be defended?
I think it all can be defended. If you're in the administration, the executive branch has a responsibility to carry out executive functions as far as the government is concerned. And I think that a lot of the information that came out in the A&R committee meeting was that it was, my initial reaction was witch hunt, using that term that is being used by the chief executive of the United States a lot. I think witch hunt was what it was, and it was not an audit, and an audit gives an opportunity for the agency or the entity to be reviewed and to have an opportunity to answer questions. In this case, there was none of that. There was just the blanket statements that there was misappropriation or the insinuation that there was misappropriation. I won't say that there was.
All right. Witch hunt, that's a strong word. Representative Lockett, what's your response to that?
I want to be really clear. First of all, this is not a witch hunt. I was in that committee when this report was given, and there are expenses that have come from the executive branch that are indefensible. The governor can stand up and say all day long all that he wants to and say that this is an attack on him. It is not. There are expenses to Palm Beach Resort, $7,600 for a limousine in Germany, trips to Switzerland, Aspen, Colorado, Beverly Hills. And what really gets me is that $51 million was spent in, quote, services not otherwise classified. $118 million spent in other expenses. So what I would like to know from the governor is how do you defend these expenses that are way out of bounds?
Whenever the governor responded to some of these claims in Team Kentucky, he, said that some of these things that were being referred to as advertising expenses were, for example, to produce like a training video. If the data that was presented isn't necessarily black and white or can be said, well, this was actually being spent for this reason or it was being ordered by a court, what case can be made that we can trust all those numbers?
Well, because they're in the EMAR system, as you stated. These are not made up numbers. These are not numbers that Allison Ball came and said, these are numbers that the executive branch put into the state reporting system. She made it very clear that she was not saying anything about what they were spent on. It was a report. This is what we found. This is how much was spent. And the reason why she was doing that is because in our budgeting process, we have tried and tried and tried to get accurate numbers from this administration, and we've been told no at every turn. And as we craft the budget, we have to have the numbers, and they will not give them.
Any response you'd like to give to that?
I would think that what the governor gave to the auditor it was transparent. There was no hiding of the numbers. They were able to get the facts and the figures. I don't know that there was a problem with that.
Well, you raised a point that I was wanting to go to next, which is how a presentation like this may influence the next executive branch budget. What are y'all's early thoughts?
Well, I think it's important to notice again that we've asked for information. We want to know what is in the base for all of these agencies. That's what we're trying to get to. The reason the auditor went to EMARS was to say, what can we see here that's in the base? What is an ongoing expense? Her report is just simple numbers. It's saying, as an auditor, I went to look at these. These are not numbers that the governor gave the auditor. These are numbers of money that has been spent, millions and millions of dollars. And people want to ask, well, how come my project can't get funded? How come we can't fund this? Well, maybe it's because we have $118 million that was spent in other expenses with no explanation whatsoever.
As Chairman Jason Petrie said, these are points of interest, so I'm expecting a few follow-up conversations and questions on this. Good discussion.
Well, I think we need to keep that in mind as we have a future administration that is headed up by a Republican governor, that those questions can certainly come from be addressed to an executive branch.
We'll see when that happens.